My name's Barry Allen, and I'm the fastest man alive.
Sorry about that, Flash.
Sorry, my finger's here.
Welcome to the MORDORK podcast. You may not be able to simply walk into Mordor, but you can simply listen to the MORDORKs. Welcome to the show, episode 3. I don't know what the episode is called yet. Probably has something to do with our main topic. What is our main topic?
Our main topic will have to wait because today, right this minute...
Oh, shoot! It's not like you can just look at the video description name.
Also...
I look so stupid with this shirt on over my actual shirt.
You'll have to excuse us. We are... high. No. No! Future employers.
I'm high on excitement.
That's it.
For what we're going to talk about today, and talk about the news.
Yeah! Let's talk about some news.
Nerd news.
Okay. So you know Daniel Craig?
Yes, I know him.
Yes, he
Not
is...
personally.
Oh, I know him personally.
Oh,
yeah.
Can you give me an autograph?
No. He's real quiet about that kind of thing, you know?
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, Daniel Craig is done with being James Bond, officially.
I am quite sad, because I liked his run as James Bond.
Did you like his run as James Bond?
I did.
What did you like about him?
I'm not sure if it's so much him as so much as I liked the writing on most of his films, and by that I mean loved 2 of his films, liked the 3rd one, and liked the other 2.
I've seen 2 of them.
I don't know. I mean, I probably would have to attribute a lot of it to the writing, but I thought that overall his Bond was simultaneously more human and yet more intimidating than any of the previous Bonds.
He can walk through a wall, so that's pretty impressive. Are you sad to see him go?
I am. I was...
Because you've seen all the James Bond movies.
Yeah, I've seen them all. Most of them twice at least, unless I just hated them.
See, I've seen like none of them except for Spectre and Skyfall, so I know nothing really about James Bond.
Yeah, I mean, like Daniel Craig and Sean is probably my favorite since Sean Connery.
Wow. Well,
who was the very first James Bond, if you didn't know.
Yes.
Well, unless you count that weird
that.
Casino Royale thing that they did. And never mind.
Well, are you excited to hear that maybe Tom Hiddleston will be the next Bond?
I mean, I love Tom Hiddleston. I'm trying to see if I really think he's in I don't know, like, I like him as Loki, but to me, Loki is kind of like more of a mental challenge than a physical challenge.
Oh, so you don't think he could be...
I'm not sure. I need to wait and see.
As Craig.
Yeah, but then again, the same thing, like, people have said, like, you know, that, like, Michael Keaton couldn't play Batman, and then people ended up loving him. So I'm, like, not... And I already like Tom Hiddleston, so it's like... I have a hard time seeing it at this moment, but I'm open to it, and we'll wait.
Alright.
We'll see.
So, yeah, Daniel Craig, he's gotten the boot, and he turned down, like, a lot of money, and even a chance to, like, co-produce it or something, so...
Yeah, I think $100 million?
Yeah, something like that. So he was completely done with being Bond.
Oh, he did not make it a secret that he did not enjoy it and did not want to come
Which
back.
is weird, because if I was asked to be James Bond, I would do it for the rest of my life.
Yeah, but you and I are, like...
I don't know why that's supposed to mean anything.
I think fanboys is an appropriate term for the 2 of us. Like, if
I don't care about James Bond.
If I get it,
I'm just like that's a cultural icon to England. You know?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying.
It's like
we're fans of movies and we're fans of pop culture. So if we ever were to make it and be part of that, we would hold on to it as long as we wanted to.
For dear life.
Somebody like Daniel Craig, he may not really care that much about.
Yeah, I get the feeling.
And you know, he's a sought-after actor. He can just move on to the next thing. Whereas you and I, if we made it, we'd just be like, there's nothing else after this. We have to
Glass ceiling found. Okay, so next, Star Trek teaser was released for the new TV show that's going to be on CBS. Although, will it be on CBS? Apparently the pilot episode will air on network, but the rest of the series was going to be confined to CBS Online or something. So
that's really interesting to me.
Yeah,
I feel like
I
feel like Star Trek still has a large fan base that putting it on television would appeal to.
Well, maybe that's why they're putting the pilot on, just to see if people are even interested at all. But there's been a lot of speculation about when exactly in the Star Trek mythos this is going to actually take place.
Yeah,
because
as
we know,
two timelines. A lot of places to choose from.
Well, and there's talk that even it'll be completely separate from any other timeline. Like, it'll be yet another reboot of some kind. So it's
interesting.
Yeah, we're not really sure. No one really knows.
You know what I'd like to see?
What?
Next Generation in the same timeline as the films.
Oh.
And you could
get
Patrick Stewart. Get
Patrick Stewart.
He can still do it.
He really could. That guy's not aged in 30 years.
I know.
That's crazy.
It's unfair.
Jeez. But yeah, you excited for a little Star Trek? A little space in your life?
I mean, I am looking forward to it. As with anything, I am also holding my excitement in reservation a little bit, just until I actually see the product.
Yeah. Are you a fan of Star Trek?
I am. I didn't grow up with it like I did with other things. I didn't start to get into Star Trek until my late teenage years, but I do enjoy it. I mean, like anything, the series does have its ups and downs.
Yes.
But whenever it's good, it's good.
Yeah. We'll have to do an episode about Star Trek sometime, because that is a thing wholly and completely into itself that, has a lot of stuff to cover there.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and rewatch a lot.
Yeah, well, I've only seen the original series all the way through, so that's all I've really seen.
Even a lot of the original series things are kind of fuzzy in my mind.
Yeah.
So I would feel like I need a heads up notice a few months in advance.
Yeah.
Maybe not that long, but...
well, speaking of Star Trek, moving on to Star Wars...
Oh, I mean, because those two things are practically the same.
They are!
Don't say that.
John Boyega, that guy who was in that one movie...
I believe his name was Finn in the movie, or FN2187.
Because he had fins for hands.
No. Did you watch the movie? I know you did, because you were in the group that went to go see it with me.
Yeah.
In fact, didn't we go see it twice together?
I was totally there.
Didn't you and I, together go see it twice?
I think so.
Wow.
Anyways,
I saw that movie a lot.
Yeah.
It's my most watched movie in theaters.
Holy crap, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyways, John Boyega is not going to be in Black Panther, despite a lot of rumors that he was going to be cast in some capacity. Although his role for Star Wars Episode 8 is yet to be determined exactly. There was a lot of speculation that Disney was going to try to place him in Marvel in some way. In the Black Panther film, I guess, because why not?
I like him, so I'd like to see what he does outside of Star Wars 2, but I'm really looking forward to Episode 8 and seeing where Finn's character goes from there.
Yeah, because he could be just some guy in the background from now on.
I think he was too popular of a character to be shoved to the background.
Yeah. Okay, so as our resident video game expert, as our world famous games journalist writer
I hate being called an expert on anything, because then people
he is the expert of video games in all the world, famous games journalist here. Do you know about Assassin's Creed? Of course you do, because you're an expert.
Yes, it's about assassins and their creed.
Exactly. Well, there is a movie being made about it.
Yes, Michael Fassbender is starring in it.
And the first trailer has been released, as well as the first poster, and the poster is of him leaping off of a building.
Yeah.
As they're prone to do there in the Assassin's Creed's universe.
Arms spread like an eagle.
Yeah. Have you seen the trailer for this movie?
Yeah.
Alright, what'd you think? As a video games expert, what do you think?
I think that I'm hesitant to say whether it will be good.
Will this be the one to make video game movies
Video game
good?
movies have never been good whenever they are a direct adaptation of a video game.
Have they ever been good?
Wreck-It Ralph.
Wreck-It
But
Ralph?
that wasn't a direct... That was a movie about video games.
Yeah.
It wasn't a direct adaptation of a video game.
Okay.
I mean, we got some that were kind of close. I feel like
I
the
personally
Prince of Persia movie was like... I feel like its heart was in the right place at least. No, I feel like effort was put into it. It didn't turn out...
I don't know. Maybe
really
you have to
well,
be a fan of the video game before you watch the movie too.
I don't feel like it turned out well, but I at least looked at it and was like, okay, I feel like there was at least some effort. Like, this wasn't an Uwe Boll movie.
Right.
Video game adaptation.
The only video game movie adaptation movie that I like is, well, that I can get, well, yeah, the only video game movies I really like are the first Resident Evil. I thought was pretty good, and I guess that's the one that's the best, even though it's not that great. It's the one that's better than most video game adaptation movies. And the Mortal Kombat, the first Mortal Kombat, I really like that, even though it's terrible. I just like
it had that one song.
This song makes like half of it for me, honestly.
Yeah, but getting back to the Assassin's Creed thing, I think it has potential. I like Michael Fassbender, so
yeah, they got him. So, and he's like an actually good actor. So, provided they don't screw it up and like misdirect him, like, it could actually be good. And it's
or he could just end up being good in it, and the rest of the movie could be horrible.
Right, but the special effects kind of look all right, sort of. You know.
Yeah.
You will believe a man can jump off of a building.
I'm even though I'm a pessimist, I'm gonna say optimistically, it might be okay.
It might be okay.
Yeah.
Heard it here first, folks. Carson, the games journalist, famous for world-renowned expert on video games, says it might be okay.
It doesn't look like a train wreck yet, from what we've seen so far.
Okay, well, speaking of train wrecks are pretty big disasters. And disasters need to be cleaned up. There's only one group of people to call to clean up a wreck after...
Who?
Who are you gonna call?
Ghostbusters!
No.
Oh.
The trailer for NBC's show Powerless, which is a comedy set in the DC universe about a cleanup crew of sorts that go up and kind of pick up after superhero messes.
Yeah, because, you know, I mean, like, after Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman fought Doomsday, I mean, they didn't bother to stick around to clean it up. I mean, they had a, spoiler alert, funeral arrangements to make. Unspoiler alert.
Yeah, so, although no major superheroes are seen in the trailer, some name drops do appear very, very, significantly.
This still looks so stupid.
They mention by name Green Lantern and Wonder Woman in the trailer.
Do they mention which Green Lantern? Because if it's not Jon Stewart, I don't care. Actually, that's not true. I do care about the others.
We do see a more small-time sort of superheroine. I don't know what her name is. I forgot what her name is. But so we might see some superheroes in this show, and we may even get a glimpse of one of the bigger names, like, you know, in the background or in the news or something. And even though this show isn't really set in any main established continuity, it's mainly just taking advantage of the superhero craze and kind of putting a comedic spin on it. And that's cool, because this kind of an idea should be cool, and it will get, and I think, like, there's a lot you could do with that, you know? I'm excited to see what it'll do. But that being said, Marvel also had an idea like that in the works as well, called Damage Control, which was an actual comic book. That is essentially the exact same idea as this show. So it's going to be interesting to see who does it better.
There goes DC and copying Marvel. I love DC.
Wait.
Not everything they do.
But DC's show is coming
out
out before Marvel's show, so Marvel's actually going to have to do some catch-up on this one.
Whoa!
Yeah. Catch-up.
I said whoa, and I was like, okay, I need to follow this exclamation with something, and then I'm just like, I got nothing.
No, just go Keanu Reeves on it. So yeah, the cast is a pretty good cast. Among others, Danny Pudi from one of my favorite shows, Community, will be in it, and he's a funny guy. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out, and it'll be interesting also if they're going to like add in actual superhero characters in it, like as regulars, or if they're just kind of really just focus on the main setting and kind of leave all that big stuff, you know.
You know what I think would kind of be funny?
What?
Like Booster Gold or somebody.
Yes.
Like messes up somehow, and as punishment, the Justice League sends him away to be on this cleanup crew.
That would be so cool.
And he's annoying all the other team members of this cleanup crew by telling stories that may or may not be true about his heroics.
That would be so cool.
I think that could be kind of funny.
I'd be totally down with that.
Maybe that's season 2 material.
Yeah. If it makes it to season 2. So yeah, lastly on the news agenda is CW DC TV shows. It's four sets of letters there. They will have a 4-show lineup next year, and they're going to have a major crossover amongst all 4 shows at some point, and it'll be the biggest thing ever that affects all shows. Basically a comic book crossover only in TV form, which I think is very cool. But it could go horribly wrong if people start to think that it's too comic booky and that it's too hard to follow. And that's my main thing, is that, yeah, Flash and Arrow crossed over, Flash and Supergirl crossed over. Will they be able to, like, keep this up? Will they be able to keep this momentum going? Or are they just going to, like, kind of implode on their own hubris here, you know?
We'll have to wait to find out. There's one more piece of news.
Oh, yes!
Young Han Solo.
Young Han Solo. You reminded me. Yeah, so we forgot to mention last week, kind of a really big piece of news, I think, is that Han Solo has been cast for the Han Solo movie. And his name is Alden Ehrenreich. I think I said that right.
He's not watching. He doesn't care. He pronounced his name correctly.
Have you seen a picture of him?
I have.
Alright, what do you think? You think he looks Han Solo-y?
I think he does.
Han Solo-y?
I think he could. I think, yeah.
Have you seen him act in anything ever?
No, have you?
No.
There you have it.
But that may not be a bad thing.
Don't know. Yeah.
Disney seems to really be going for the unknowns. And if this guy is a real unknown, then that might be a good thing.
I thought that paid off with Daisy Ridley and John Boyega.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked both of them.
Yeah, I think that's what they're really going for. So maybe if this keeps in line with it, if they keep going with that, then maybe so. Do you think there's any possibility they'll ever cast him as the new Indiana Jones, just to keep continuity?
I thought Chris Pratt was the new Indiana Jones.
I know, he would be good, but I don't know. Maybe we should just have another generation of kids grow up thinking Indiana Jones is the same person as Han Solo.
Keep those conspiracy theories alive, except we can't now. Moment of silence for our dear Han Solo. Unless you believe the conspiracy theorists who believe he's still alive.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, poor Harrison Ford, he's finally been released of his duty to be Han Solo.
Oh, no, he's not. People are still going to come up to him and be like, "You're Han Solo!"
Yeah.
That's a role that you're stuck in for a while.
Yeah, poor Harrison.
Yeah, also, did we talk about the Ghostbusters trailer last time?
We talked about... No, I don't think we did. The new one? The new one that just came out?
Or about how the 2016 Ghostbusters trailer is now the most disliked trailer on YouTube.
Well, we all saw that coming. I think it's safe to say that there's a lot of people out there who have just dedicated their lives to hating this movie, no matter what.
I mean, it was kind of like a movie that was going to be unpopular no matter what.
Right, there's really no winning unless they really knock it out of the park. There's no winning, because there's always going to be some people who hate the very idea of it being remade. Then there's the whole thing of, oh, they're all women now, so I'm just going to hate that because...
Nobody wins in this situation because unless it's just amazing and everybody actually ends up falling in love with it, which probably won't happen, let's be honest.
I mean, likely...
Because it...
not because it could be bad, it's just like no one at this rate, I don't think so many people have just dedicated hate campaigns to it. I just don't think enough people are going to fall in love with it completely, even if it's the best movie ever.
Yeah,
so,
like you said, I mean, some
and
people
to be
don't
fair,
want to see it.
The first trailer wasn't really that good. Like, it started off, it was misleading for one thing, because it said 30 years ago, you know, whatever. So it sounds like a sequel, but it's actually a reboot, and it's like completely different. And I thought the trailer was badly edited, but that's just me.
I didn't think the trailer was good. I don't think it's deserving of being the worst trailer.
Well, yeah. That,
I've seen some worse ones.
It just suffice to say it wasn't the trailer that they needed to win people over if they were going to be won over at all.
But yeah, this is just like a no-win situation for anybody because, like you said, I mean, this a lot of people don't want to see this being remade or rebooted because the first one was such a classic, and it's hard to even picture a Ghostbusters without that original cast. Cause that's almost a movie that, like, without that cast, you could have seen it going horribly wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's a list of people who they could have cast for that movie, and it's like, it would have been a very different movie.
And then, also, there are people who are just going to hate it because it's an all-female cast in the lead. Yep. But then, also, for the fans or moviegoers who don't like it, like, even if they have legitimate complaints, then they're going to just get called out for saying, oh, you don't like it because it's all women, and you don't like that, you're sexist. And so it's like,
it's going to be a tough movie.
Even if that's not the problem, because I'm sure there will be other problems, how serious those other problems will be is yet to be determined.
It's going to be a tough
no-win situation.
If it doesn't turn out good, it's going to be a tough movie to like, and it's going to be a tough movie to hate, because it's going to be a very fine line between two camps of people who are all for it and who are all against it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, we're walking it, we're going to have to walk a politically correct minefield. Yeah, so that's cool and all. But that being said, I'm reserving judgment until I see it, so I'm not going to judge it by its trailer, because another trailer has come out since then, and it looked better. Like, it was more well put together, so hopefully that's going to be more like what it is. So I'm hoping it's good. Also, but if it's bad, I don't really care, because because Ghostbusters 1 and 2 still exist, and they're still good movies, so if you're going to go watch them, go wrap yourself in a blanket, go watch them at night, pretend that you're in 1980, whenever that came out, and forget that 2016 ever happened. Yeah. That's how you deal with things in this world of remakes and reboots. Just forget they happened. Unless they're actually good.
Which they never are.
I liked the remake of True Grit. And that's actually amazing, because I don't even like westerns all that much.
I love westerns.
I don't have anything against... I don't...
Westerns are like one of my favorite... Okay, we're going to have to do a whole episode on westerns someday.
I'm sorry.
Put that down.
I don't think it's a bad genre, it's just not my genre.
How dare you.
I'm sorry.
Morons. Anyways, our topic today, as you may know already, is DC's TV's shows.
What? DC has TV shows?
And first of all, I just want to say, we need to come up with a better acronym or whatever for that. Because we got the MCU.
That sounds good. That rolls off the tongue.
Right. We need the DC TV CWU. That just sounds dumb. Should it be the DTU? DTU? That sounds like too much MCU. It's DC needs their own identity, darn it.
CWU.
CWU. No, put in the comments what you think DC TV universe should be, and let us know, and then we'll pick that.
Yeah.
And also, then we'll tell CW to use it.
Also, we need one for like the movies, because even though like people are calling it the DCU and other acronyms, none of them to me sound right. Like, they don't roll off the tongue very well. We gotta come up with something fast, people. Fast. Burning money. Time is money.
Burning daylight. Okay.
Burning the house down.
Before we start talking about the CW TV shows, I would like to just give an honorable mention to Gotham. Have you seen Gotham lately?
I watched the first season.
The entire first season?
I did not watch the second season. Okay.
Well, I've been keeping up with Gotham, and to be honest, I think the second season is better than the first season. And the reason for that is it's moved away from the whole police procedural sort of feel. I mean, it still is kind of that, but not nearly as much as it was. And also, first of all, I'd just like to say we're probably going to, even though we're not going to intend to, we're probably going to spoil most of these shows, so if you haven't seen them and plan on seeing them, don't watch this.
Or skip to our recommendation section.
Yeah.
Which is at the very, very end.
Just, you know...
And probably not worth
We appreciate your views, but we are probably going to spoil something, so we just want to say it ahead of time just so no one yells at us.
Yeah.
Someone's definitely going to yell at us. So...
I'm not holding back.
Right, so Gotham.
Darth Vader is Luke's father.
Okay, so Gotham, I think one of the main things that they changed in this season was making Jim Gordon not a detective anymore. He's like kind of doing his own thing. Like he's trying to be a detective again because he was accused of a crime, but he's still not a detective. And I think that's kind of helped him moving away from the whole police procedural. And it's more sort of an analysis of Gotham, the city itself, and how all these supervillains are kind of rising up. And that to a Batman purist is probably going to cause a lot of problems.
Yeah, that is kind of like one of my things. I'm like, right. I kind of felt like they should have picked 2 or 3 villains and just kind of focused on them.
Yeah.
But
well, here's the way I look at it. I look at it as just a completely parallel timeline to all other Batman stories where Batman is older than he was when his parents got killed, and he's really weirdly still involved with Gotham and, you know, just kind of knows all the villains ahead of time before he even becomes Batman, and all the villains are already there.
Well, I mean, if you like look at the comics, like almost all the villains have some connection to Bruce Wayne.
Right, but
so so like the fact that he knows them already doesn't really bother me.
Yeah. But seeing characters like Mr. Freeze and the Riddler and Clayface now, I don't like the Clayface. The Clayface is bad. Like seeing Mr. Freeze was a really like the guy that got to play Mr. Freeze. I thought he was great. The origin story stays very similar to the animated series origin,
which is the like standard origin story now because it was so good whenever it came out.
Yeah, they actually changed it in the comics to kind of, you know, go more towards that.
I mean, whenever you have like such a brilliant idea, I mean, it only makes sense that other people would be like, hey, that worked really well. Let's make that official.
Let's just do that. Okay, so, but yeah, so, Gotham has been doing some cool things. It's been doing some not so cool things. I enjoy it because it's really descended into the sort of madness that it really didn't start off like. And I think that's probably because its ratings weren't as high near the end of season 1 as they did when it started off. So I think they tried to do something to kind of change things up, and I like where it's going. I don't know about most people. I know it's hasn't really made a big comeback. So yeah.
Do I get to give my thoughts on the first season?
You can say whatever you think about Gotham.
Okay, I am not as big a fan of it as you are.
Yes.
I think I saw some elements that I really liked and some elements that I really didn't in the first season. Did
you like Fish Mooney, the best character?
The best thing about season 1, in my opinion, was Penguin.
Yeah, he was great.
He
continues to be great in season 2. He really is a good part.
I love what is his name? Robin Lord Taylor.
Yeah, Robin Lord Taylor. Yeah.
I think that he does a great job with that part.
Yes.
I think that the interplay with him and the other crime bosses as he tries to manipulate his way to the top was really interesting.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, later in the season, he kind of got to a point where the writers didn't seem to know what to do with him as far as like conflict. And instead of doing something smart like, hey, let's save him until he's actually needed for the bigger story, they kind of tried to give him like stories, and it just felt like a complete waste of time. Like that one episode where the big conflict is, I'm running a nightclub and the people who sell alcohol don't like me, so they won't sell alcohol to me. I'm just like, wait, this is
there was a lot of mob boss scenes in season 1, and I was not a fan of that because I don't care.
And so, but then once again they brought him back at the end of the season in the way that he should have been, where he actually was like manipulative and trying to claw his way to the top. Yeah, so,
DC or Gotham season 2, they brought in Hugo Strange as a main antagonist.
Weird character, or you might even say a strange one.
I'm gonna kill you.
I deserve to be killed.
And he's played by B.D. Wong, of all people.
That seemed like a weird casting choice, kind of. Like,
yeah.
If I had made a list of all the people that I thought could
well,
play,
he did play a mad scientist in Jurassic World.
Yeah, he just wouldn't have been one of the ones that I would have thought of.
I think he's got a weird bald cap. Or maybe it's his head, I can't tell. But it's really bothering me every time I see him. Anyways, yeah, so Gotham, it's pretty good, but it's not, as I said, it's not part of the CW-verse. So it's not necessary viewing for most of DC's programming. And I think it's just fun just as a thing. But that being said, moving on to the CW, the show that started it all was Arrow, and it's now in its 4th season. Can you believe that?
I can.
All right.
Because I've seen it.
But 4 years ago, they started off with Arrow, and it immediately got super positive reviews. It was very popular. I was not one of the people to initially jump on board with it, because A, I wasn't a huge Green Arrow fan at the time. I knew who he was, I had seen him in shows and in comics, but I just wasn't, like, all that about him, because I really didn't know a whole lot about him. But you were the one, you and our mutual friend of ours were the ones who got me into watching it, and especially once Flash started up, I was like, okay, I'm officially on board with both these shows.
Should we go like season by season through Arrow?
Yeah,
a little bit like
I don't remember. See, season 1 and 2 I kind of watched like all together, so they kind of meld together a lot for me. I remember season 1 was about an earthquake machine and Malcolm Merlyn. And season 2 was Deathstroke and the Mirakuru soldiers. And each season it seemed like for a while there he kept like flip-flopping back and forth on whether he did kill people or didn't kill people. And I wasn't a huge fan of that. In my opinion, I think the show's gotten better. I know a lot of people think it's kind of gone downhill a bit, but I think it's gotten better because I feel like it's gotten more focus and it's like figured out what it wants to do more. Because earlier in the season it felt like it was just kind of going back and forth and like spinning its wheels. But that being said, what do you think about the earlier seasons?
Let's see, I was there from the beginning. Like I would actually wait for Wednesday night. Yes, like I would actually like wait a week between episodes and then watch it, like, you know, whenever it actually came on.
Yeah.
And so I think the first season, it starts off a little shaky, but then again most shows do, just because they're still trying to figure out exactly what works, what doesn't. They have to give this information to the audience that sometimes isn't easy to give, and so they kind of have to set things up. So usually the first few episodes or even the first season of a show will be kind of weaker. But with Arrow, I felt overall it got stronger as the season went on. What my biggest complaint with season 1 was Huntress. I felt they ruined that character. I hate Huntress.
I forgot about her.
I hate Huntress on that show.
Yeah, there was just a lot of annoying side things that I just didn't care about. You know, is Laurel and Arrow, or Oliver and Laurel together, or Oliver mean to his sister? I just didn't care. And Tommy, he was around.
I didn't like Tommy at first, but as the season went on, they gave him a lot more development, and by the end of the season, I liked Tommy a lot. Yeah,
I guess I kind of did warm up to him, but I don't know.
And then the season finale hit, and I thought it was brave. Like,
did you cry?
I did not cry, but
you didn't cry?
I'm sure I didn't cry, but I thought that it took a lot of moxie. Nobody says that anymore.
Fashion moxie.
Like, watching it, I was like, okay, this is pretty cool, but it's a pretty standard story of, you know, there's some device or some threat facing the city, and the vigilante now has to become a hero and save the city.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that it was going to kind of take a cue from Batman Begins, which really the whole first season in some ways took a lot of cues from Batman Begins.
Yeah.
I think Batman Begins did everything a lot better, but Arrow still took a lot of cues from it.
Yeah.
And so I thought it was kind of going to be that thing where he saves the city, people begin to realize that maybe he's not such a bad guy.
Yeah.
I thought it was incredibly brave of the writers to end it with Malcolm Merlyn's machine actually destroying the Glades.
Yeah, that was...
I thought, like, I was like, whoa, that's something I wasn't expecting. I was not expecting to see the season end with the hero failing.
Well, this season they actually did something similar to that, only, you know, bigger scale, but, which you haven't seen the rest of the season. So.
Yeah, I fell behind and I have to wait until it's on Netflix now because I don't get cable. Or
Hulu?
Well, I don't... I have Hulu, but they don't have all the episodes on. They only keep, like, a certain lineup, and right now I'm waiting for it to circle around.
But I will say about one thing that really threw me off was John Barrowman as Merlin, because he was a very believable evil guy.
Oh, I love John Barrowman.
And up till that time, I only knew him from one place and one place only, and that was as Jack Sparrow in Doctor Who.
Captain Jack Harkness.
Jack
Sparrow is
Jack Sparrow, wrong captain.
There are too many Captain Jacks.
Captain Jack. Yeah. But Captain Jack Harkness, who is just like this really nice guy, and so now I see him as Merlin's this really bad guy. But he's also kind of jovial at the same time. He's evil, but he's like, I don't know. I kind of laugh every time I see him because it's like you're evil and I get it, but I still somehow can't take you completely seriously, you know?
Probably because he's Doctor.
Yeah.
Which we both love that shit.
But suffice it to say, he is a good villain.
Yeah,
he's a good villain, and I thought but he wasn't the best villain in my opinion.
No, and sometimes he doesn't even act like a villain because sometimes they make alliances.
Really back and forth on that.
Which I kind of like how he's a wild card, but now.
Yeah.
But I also like the fact that they killed off Tommy, and I thought that was interesting how that kind of was the motivation for him to start moving away from killing people.
Yeah, but then he did it again because season 2 came around.
But it was only one time.
Right. But the Mirakuru suit soldiers came around, and then we saw Deathstroke. The guy who played Deathstroke, I thought was great.
Oh, he stole the show in that season. Like, he was not like what I picture a typical Deathstroke being, but I didn't picture the Deathstroke from the comics or from anything else being like this guy with like this accent who like trained.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I always pictured him as like a Australian British person.
I don't know. I don't know why I never pictured it. And also I pictured him a lot older, but it was just like I did not care that he did not fit my vision because I'm open to new interpretations whenever it comes to characters based on comics because you kind of have to be with how many interpretations there are. Yeah. And I thought he was amazing. I thought he stole the show.
But that being said, I still am not a huge fan of Season 2 either because I feel like there was still a lot of stuff from Season 1 left over. Just this peripheral stuff that I wasn't interested in at all. Just a lot of drama, and I wasn't sure. Like some of that's important, and there was important stuff in it, and they definitely cut back on it. But I wasn't still a huge fan of Season 2 because it still felt like there was a lot of episodes where they were just kind of like it's back and forth. Oliver, don't lie to me.
I disagree. You disagree? I love Season 2. I think it is the best season of Arrow. Really? I don't think it will be topped in my opinion. Really? I thought it cleverly handled the transition from kind of set in a real world where maybe this could happen, not really, but if we can kind of pretend, to being more comic book like where we have superpowers. It set up the Flash. Like I said, I thought that Manu Bennett, or however you pronounce his first name, I thought he stole the show as Deathstroke. I thought that the build up to their fight and even just like the psychological build-up was for Oliver was great, and so like that first moment where they meet face to face in the present, I got goosebumps. And then I like how at the end it's kind of intercutting the present day fight with the fight in the past. I don't know. I'm not saying that season is perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but I think that it was the strongest. Yeah. And it wasn't Season 2 where they first introduced Barry Allen. So we did get to see him. Yeah, we didn't. So that early on, we already knew that we were going to be getting more of a connected universe with these shows. Because when Season 3 rolled around, I thought that the show Arrow really started to pick up for me. I really started. You and I have very different opinions on it. Well, that being said, it wasn't a great. It started off better than I thought. I thought it started off really good, and then it kind of slowed down near the halfway point, and it didn't have a hugely great payoff. I did like the villain though. I liked Ra's al Ghul. That was another one where it's like, okay, that's not that's a little bit different than what I generally picture Ra's al Ghul or Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah, I don't know.
Did you notice how the series couldn't decide what to call him?
Yeah.
Because they kept going back and forth between saying Ra's al Ghul and Ra's al Ghul. It's like, okay, I prefer one over the other, but it's like, at least be consistent.
Yeah.
Because that's a debate I've heard like so many times among fans. Is it Ra's? Is it Ra's?
Yeah.
I've always pronounced it Ra's just because I first met him in the comics, and so I saw his name written out.
Yeah.
And to me, R-A-S.
Ra's. Yeah.
But
yeah.
But then I've heard it's really supposed to be Ra's, but then Batman Begins pronounce it Ra's.
Yeah.
And Batman the Animated Series pronounce it Ra's. So I really don't care either way. It's just bugs me that they're not consistent within their own show.
Do your names right, DC.
I was kind of hoping they might make a joke about that. Like maybe one of the writers might catch it and be like, "Oh,
wait a minute, guys.
Can we make a reshoot or can we reshoot this one quick line where like somebody like corrects somebody and be like, you've been saying it wrong."
Yeah.
Or I thought that would be funny, but
yeah. I don't know.
I thought the seasons. I was kind of worried about season 3 just because I did like season 2 so much, and I'm just like, I'm not sure if they could hold up. If it could live up to
the overarching story. I thought was weaker than season 2.
Season 3, I felt it started out pretty good.
Yeah.
It stayed pretty good. Because
they had the whole team together and they were all doing it and going at it, and I really liked seeing that chemistry there, but then that kind of fell apart immediately.
I loved the Flash Arrow crossover, particularly the Arrow episode. I thought the Arrow episode had the stronger story because
at this point we have Flash going concurrently with Arrow, which is awesome.
Yeah,
and I immediately liked Flash better than Arrow, anyways. But
I'll get to
we'll get to that. But
and then I really liked the mid-season finale. After that, to me, it fell apart completely.
Yeah, that's really the part I started having trouble.
The flashbacks, they were all the same and went nowhere.
Can we just not have the flashbacks anymore? They really don't add a lot to the show, I don't think.
And then,
except for this season, they had one where it was great, but that was it.
I know you're thinking Constantine,
but we'll get to that.
But then, it was like the series just went in circles. Well,
and there was the whole thing where Oliver was being the assassin, whatever,
Yeah, he was the heir to the demon.
Yeah, I wasn't down with that.
I was okay, but it was just Roz's what he was after kept changing. It was oh, I want to eliminate Merlin. Now I want Oliver to be my thing. I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I just remember thinking, man, this is going in circles. Characters' motivations are changing all the time, and it's not in a natural way.
No.
And it's how, I don't know, it just fell apart for me.
I thought the guy who got to play Ra's al Ghul was very good.
Yeah, I liked him. But I did like that scene where it's the big fight scene. Felicity throws her iPad or iPad equivalent at one of the League of Shadows ninjas. Or no, League of Assassins. They actually, Batman Begins messing me up because they changed it to League of Shadows. And but the show got it right. League of Assassins. Mm-hmm. She hits the League of Assassins member in the face. He falls over. She thinks that she did it, but then as he falls over, you see that actually he got shot in the back with an arrow by Malcolm Merlin. Yeah, and I thought that was a funny moment. I was just that kind of makes this episode okay.
Well, and Felicity. She had a really bigger role in this season, which I think is okay. I don't know what you think about her.
I like Felicity. She's she's an Oracle character very much. Except Oracle at one point knew how to fight. But then again, in season 4, Felicity got a little bit tougher. Yeah. So and in the season also introduced a whole lot of other new characters too. We saw Ray Palmer actually become the Atom. I kind of felt. I mean, I get why that was there, but that just felt very out of place.
It did feel out of place
to me, in season 3,
right. Well,
in season.
I don't know. I just got through complaining about extra peripheral storylines in the first 2 seasons. The reason I give this one a pass is because I actually care about who Ray Palmer is.
Well, I do too, but it's the difference between.
So I thought that was cool.
It's the difference between Batman vs Superman and Civil War. Take Black Panther from Civil War. He is introduced in that movie and set up for his own movie, but he is interwoven so seamlessly.
Right,
like,
right.
That movie would be different without him,
Mhm.
because he contributes to the plot, and it naturally sets him up.
Yeah.
Whereas Batman vs Superman is just kind of like, it takes away from the main story to just be like, oh, by the way, we also have these other movies coming out, Flash and Cyborg.
Open your email.
Yeah. Which, you know, I mean, some people will say that was one of the better parts of the movies, was the distraction from the main story, but...
yeah,
but that's what I'm saying, is like, to me, I care about Ray Palmer, but I wish that he were...
Yeah, he basically showed up for the final fight between the two groups. And then we also had Arsenal, who I thought was going to be annoying as a character, but I actually really liked him. And then when he finally, you know, left the show, I was kind of like, you know, I kind of wish he hadn't left, you know? Like, I thought he was bringing a lot to the table. Yeah. And we had Black Canary, Laurel, who doesn't really have a lot to do in this season. Like, she's there, it just didn't feel like she's important.
Whenever you say this season, do you mean season 3 or season 4?
Yeah, season 3. I don't feel like she was very vital.
Season 3, I did like how she kind of got... now I've backed myself into a corner because this sounds really creepy and like anti-female, but I'm just like, I like how she struggled the most out of all the characters whenever it came to fighting. Because she was the newest. That's what I'm saying. I like how she wasn't like immediately like on the same level as Oliver. You know, like she took a few more hits than the others. That's kind of how I was about to say it, then I'm like, oh wait, that makes it sound like I'm advocating abusing females, and I'm not. I'm just saying that, like, from a story perspective, that makes sense that she would have the most difficulty fighting. I have to cover... I'm on the internet. I have to cover myself as best as I can.
But I get what you're saying. Laurel, you know, she was a convincing character, but at the same time, she's probably my least favorite out of the group, just because she didn't really have a lot of character, it seemed. She was kind of just there.
This season season 3 did give us the boxing glove arrow.
Yes.
They worked that into the show. You have no idea how happy that made me.
And then we had Diggle, who I guess we forgot to mention in season 1 and 2, but
he's a good enough character that they added him to the comics.
Yeah. When I first Diggle, just as a side here, I didn't really care about him as a character much until about season 3, just because he started to play more of an active role. It felt like, you know, on Team Arrow, you know. But I think of all the extra characters that they added, you know, or developed more in season 3. I thought Diggle was probably the one that benefited the most of it, because we got to see more of him in
I'd say that's probably...
Yeah, so season 3, it was alright, whatever. And then we have this season, which isn't quite over yet, and you haven't seen all of.
I've seen the first half.
Right.
Spoiler alert. The last thing I saw was Felicity getting shot.
Right. And of course they've moved way on since then.
Yeah, so I'm sorry that I can't...
I'll just say that Damien Dark, I think, is my favorite villain that we've had so far. I think he's really good.
I liked him in the
I like how they're also doing...
I felt like he showed up a little bit too much. Or he had too many face-to-face interactions with them.
He has had a lot of face-to-face reactions.
The thing is, like, every time you have a face-to-face interaction between the hero and villain, and the villain doesn't defeat the hero, it kind of, like, decreases the threat that they present in the minds of the audience, so...
They did kind of rectify that with one of their their most recent face-to-face encounter, where Damien Dark does something, like, terrible, and if you've seen, you know what I'm talking about. I'm
looking forward to having those episodes up, so I can finally catch up.
Yeah, I'll just say, just so I don't want to spoil it for even you, I'll just say that he does do something to the team that is irreversible.
I know what you're talking about now. I've had that spoiled for me.
Good for you. I think Damien Dark is definitely the best villain that we've had so far.
I still don't think Season 4, at least based on the first half, is as strong in my mind as Season 2, but I think it's a step back in the right direction.
Yeah, I think it's better than Season 3. I do think it's moving more in the direction of Season 3 that started off going that way, and I really like the direction they're going, so I think if they can just keep going that way, that'll be better.
Yeah, I like how he's finally calling himself Green Arrow.
Yes, that was very cool. Can we have the Green Arrow be called Green Arrow now?
It's only took
40
you 4
years.
seasons.
Yeah. We have Team Arrow has been sort of expanded, but also sort of taken away from a bit. We have Mr. Terrific, not officially introduced as Mr. Terrific, but we've had the character of him introduced, not in a way I was expecting. He doesn't seem like...
all that terrific. No, well, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, he doesn't seem like who I would have expected to play him, but maybe he'll become more superheroic later on, and that'll be like a huge change for him.
Great, now the internet's gonna get mad at me because I said he wasn't super terrific, and isn't he homosexual in this
Right,
show?
but he is in the comics as well.
So now people are gonna get mad at me for that.
Right, but
I
that
can't
is
say
kind
anything
of,
right.
That's kind of an essential part of his character, and they do like that. That's totally played off as natural. They play off his whole super athleticism and also super geniusism. Like they play all of that off.
He just still isn't like totally at the level of the comics that I'm thinking, as far as like his abilities.
He's more like, you know, kind of scared of things.
Sidekick.
Yeah, he's more of a Felicity kind of character. So I'm definitely looking forward to him. You know, being the Mr. Terrific.
Going from being to terrific.
Terrific. And also we've had this season. We had well. I thought, like I said, the flashbacks have been cut down a lot more, but I just really don't think we need them at all, and I think they're probably going to phase them out next season.
Well, I mean, every flashback has taken place over the course of a year.
Right, yeah, so it has been 5 years. But the funny thing about this season's flashbacks is that they've basically taken place over like a few days. It's like each season they've been slowly cutting back the time that each flashback is taking place, because like the last few weeks have been like a few minutes in each flashback. So it's interesting to see that. Also this season we got an entire episode where we had a crossover from 2 other characters from other 2 shows, not being The Flash. One of them was from Constantine, who was another DC show which lasted for a season last year, and it was cancelled, and I'm still bitter about that. Because I love that show, and I love Constantine as a character, and I really want to see him come back. Also, the person that got to play him is Matt Ryan, I believe his name is. He is perfect for the role, and if they ever make a movie with Constantine in it, I'd love to see that.
I think I had a problem with that episode with him in it, and that I felt it actually should have been a 2-parter.
Yeah, I think it should have lasted longer. Because he just kind of showed up and left.
Sarah's soul.
Yeah.
I forget exactly how they put it, but basically they were like going into Sarah's mind to like retrieve her soul.
Yeah.
And then that like took like 5 minutes. I felt like that I felt like that was way too easy. I felt it should have been a lot more difficult.
For all the build-up that there was coming because of this seeing Constantine again, it wasn't as big a payoff as I was hoping it would be.
Yeah, like I could have done with like part 1, like making a 2-part episode, making part 1 they enter Sarah's mind, and part 2 they go through it, maybe even use it as like a character episode for Sarah, where like we get to see some of her mind that's been corrupted, but some of it that's still intact, and it can kind of give us insight into what's going on, her pains and her loneliness, and I felt like that was kind of a wasted opportunity. And then while you're also giving insight into Sarah, you can give insight into Oliver and Laurel's relationship with her, and then also give them like a supernatural mind soul threat to face.
Yeah.
You know, something that could have made it a full episode without making it feel stretched, actually using the time wisely.
Yeah, and also we saw Vixen this year.
I have not yet.
Okay, well
that's in the second half.
Obviously. She shows up, and Vixen is from this web series, this animated web series, and it's the same person who voices her, and it's actually part of the CW verse. And she actually shows up in costume and everything, and it's awesome. And so yeah, we got to see a lot of extra cameos. So in summation, Arrow as a series, I think is great. I like where it's heading. I think it's still got some rocky points. It's not the best CW show in my opinion, but I think it's definitely still going strong, I think.
Now that we're transitioning to Flash, I'll just kind of say my opinion of them, comparing them. I feel like Flash is more consistently good, but I feel like whenever Arrow is good, it's a little bit better than Flash, but Flash is the more consistently good.
Right,
That's my opinion. Like, can't really think of many things that like I just didn't like in Flash in either season of Flash. Where as Arrow, there are some things I really hate, but then there are also things I really love.
Yeah, season 1 of Flash I thought was really good. Like we really got to know Barry Allen. We really like him, and in season 2 we still get to know him, but he definitely changes as a character too. And a lot more happens. We see so many villains, so many from his rogues gallery. It's awesome. Flash is probably one of my favorite shows on TV right now. It's definitely one of my It's definitely my favorite superhero broadcast show. So I think that it is definitely great, and it's definitely going to end strong this season too. And you just need to see it. It's great.
Once again, that's a show where I've seen the first season. First half of the second season.
Right.
I'm waiting for the second half to.
And in Flash, they have introduced multiple Earths. Multiple parallel universes, and that is how we segue into Supergirl, which you have not seen.
You didn't give me a chance to talk about my feelings on Flash.
Okay, I'm just sorry. No, it's cool. I forgot to mention one thing though. No. I forgot to mention though. Flash season 1, I think is probably. It's hard to say because Flash season 1 and season 2 are both good, but for different reasons. What would you say?
Yeah, like I probably would put season 1 a little bit ahead, just because 1 I've actually seen all of it.
You've seen the whole thing,
and 2 it's just like more. You know, it was just what came first, so
right. It's hard to
I feel a little bit more attached to it, but it's like they're both really solid. Yeah. I love both of them.
Would you say Flash is better than Arrow, or in your opinion?
Well, like I just said, it's like whenever Arrow is good, I like it better. But Flash has been pretty consistent. Like it's pretty much on the same level or exceptional every week.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. They're really about even out. Just because like for me, Arrow has more of the like highest and lowest points, but Flash is like consistently good every week, so that leads to about balanced out.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like,
I
feel like
I personally favor Flash over Arrow just because it is, like you said, more consistent, and I like the more consistent tone.
Season 1 of Flash ran against Season 3 of Arrow. Season 2 of Flash ran against Season 4 of Arrow. I feel like if you're comparing it to the seasons it's running against, Flash definitely wins.
Right, yeah.
Really, I'm just thinking back to like season 2 of Arrow that it just like gives me pause.
You really liked that season.
I did. Like, wow. I had so much fun with that season.
I don't know.
I love Deathstroke. I don't know why. I just think that that's like the strongest that Arrow is likely to get, in my opinion.
Maybe.
But then I like the end of season 1 of Arrow, and so like that time period was just like.
Well, it's likely we're not going to be going back to that kind of.
Well, I'm okay. I'm okay with not going back to that feel. It's more about quality.
Yeah.
Quality. I feel like that was for me the highest quality of the show.
Do you think they'll be able to recapture that more with the same direction that they're going in? This more crazier world of magic and superheroes. Stuff?
I love superheroes, and there are two routes you can take whenever adapting superheroes. You can either take the Dark Knight approach and say, okay, here's a character with all these weird, otherworldly, illogical elements,
and then make them
make it as close to reality and how to put them in as you can. Or you can just do kind of what the MCU is doing and just say like, okay, we've got these kind of weird characters. Let's embrace it.
Just deal with it, man.
Let's have fun with it.
I like that approach better, and that's I think why I like Flash better.
I don't favor one approach over the other. I like both. It all depends on how well they're executed.
True, yeah.
It's all about the execution for me, and so for me, Arrow Season 2 was what executed better. So I think it's possible. It's definitely possible for even with this new direction for it to reach that same level. I just don't know if it actually will happen, but I think it's definitely possible.
Now you haven't seen the rest of Flash Season 2, right?
Right.
Okay, so you watched right up until Christmas time about? Okay, so you haven't seen the Flash Supergirl crossover, have you?
I have not. so I can't comment on it.
Well, you haven't seen Supergirl either?
No, because that's wasn't on Hulu.
Right. That's true.
So, and like I said, I don't have actual television. I just have Netflix and Hulu.
Yeah. We don't watch TV. We watch Hulu and Netflix.
I will say one thing about Flash. It did not have the growing pains that Arrow did.
Right.
Like,
I know. It really just came out of the gate awesome.
I mean, I think it did improve a little bit as the season went on, but it didn't have much room for improvement, honestly.
Yeah.
Like,
it's just... I don't know, man. I really am so...
I kind of wonder if that was just because they introduced Barry Allen on Arrow, but you didn't really need to see that. And then even the first episode like set him up well enough on its own.
Yeah.
Or if it was just because like it was in the same universe, kind of same people behind it, until they kind of learned from Arrow and so knew it. Or
I don't know.
Flash is easier to write for, or what? I don't know, but it just didn't have the same growing pains.
And there are so many side characters in Flash that are all, like, very cool. I don't think we could really go over each and every one of them, but, like, we could just say, like, as far as the good guys go, we have, like, Caitlin Snow, we have, this is the actor's name, Cisco, who becomes Vibe. We have Iris West, we have Joe West, we have...
I love the relationship between Joe and Barry.
Yeah, it's very cool. And now we have Wally West in it, who's kind of like trying to find out who he is and all that.
And can I just say, I actually have to decide which one I like more. I like Flash more, if only because they managed to get Mark Hamill to say, "I am your father."
Yes!
Like...
Oh man, they had him come back from that show no one watched in the 90s.
Oh, I love... And you know that the guy who plays Barry's dad on this show...
was the Flash in the 90s, yeah.
So I thought that was amazing.
Yeah.
Like, that as soon as they got Mark Hamill, they were just like... They were like, how can we get him to say, "I am your father"?
Yeah, I know.
It was just like, the whole episode was written around that one line.
Yeah. Yeah, so Flash, needless to say, I think is probably the best of the CW shows right now. But like I said, Flash and Supergirl crossed over, and Supergirl had previously been on CBS, and it just aired this season. So it's a new show. And it's over now, so you haven't seen any of it.
No.
I definitely recommend seeing it. It was a lot rougher starting off than Flash was, to be sure, and Arrow for that matter.
That's kind of what I've heard.
Yeah, I in fact didn't even see the first couple episodes, and I still really didn't get much of a feel like I had missed anything coming in at like third or fourth. But that being said, it really picks up after a while, and it really ends strong. I really liked the latter half of the season, and it was really good. I was surprised.
I really regret like not seeing like the second half of those of Flash and Arrow, and not being able to watch Supergirl.
There'll be time. There'll be time. But let's just say that Supergirl is great. And now it's being brought to CW, so we'll likely see it cross over, even though it's in another universe, and Flash had to like go through a wormhole or something to get there. But there's a lot of cool characters there. There is Superman exists in that universe, so we may, even though we've not really seen him, we've just kind of seen his boots. I'm super hyped to see where that show goes, and especially now that's going to be on the CW. Okay. The fourth show...
Wait, I just have one thing to say about Supergirl. I can't comment on the quality because I haven't seen it, but thank goodness we have a better Supergirl adaptation than that one awful movie where she and the sorceress woman fight over the man.
Have you seen that?
I have not. I've seen clips of it, and that was more than
I haven't
enough.
seen anything from that show. They did get that Supergirl to come back as like her mom or somebody, so that was cool.
Oh, just from what I've seen, it's just like that would be like a painful movie. Like it's not even like so bad it's good. It's just like I would be in pain.
We're watching that next. Okay. So Legends of Tomorrow was a direct spin-off of both Flash and Arrow, taking characters that were initially shown on both those shows and kind of put them in a team together.
Can I just say the Arrow and Flash episodes that like set that up, where you have Hawk Girl and Vandal Savage and all them, and the Hawkman.
That was very good.
I didn't care for it.
You didn't?
I didn't think it was well done.
I thought it was fun.
I thought it felt really forced, and I
felt
like some of my complaints could be solved by the Legend of Tomorrow show, where it's just like I felt like they kind of like stuffed a lot into this episode without explanation.
They clearly were trying to set up a show when
Yeah.
they did it, and so that was a problem.
But I didn't feel like it, like, the Arrow Flash crossover, the first one, like, they were, in Season 2, where Barry Allen hadn't become Flash and hadn't even gotten his powers yet.
Yeah. There's like a
It
good
was
reason
just-
for it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you could tell, obviously I knew that they were setting up another show, but it felt a lot more natural.
Right, yeah. But that being said, DC's Legends of Tomorrow is a lot more bombastic. It's a lot more out there than even The Flash. And it's really goes all in for the sci-fi feel. You've not seen the whole season, but have
No,
you
I
seen
haven't seen any of it.
You haven't
actually.
seen any of it?
I don't know what happened. I came back from Christmas and I was starting my second semester of college. And that second semester of college was awful. Like, I had so much to do. I hated my class, and
Real life is fun, kids!
I just fell behind. Like, I didn't start Legend of Tomorrow, and I fell behind on Flash and Arrow, and I just...
that's true, because it hasn't started. It didn't start till after Christmas.
And I didn't catch up on them.
Yeah, they haven't even had a full season. And it has been renewed for a second season, so it's going to be interesting to see if they can stretch it out a full time, you know. Okay, so I'll just say what I think. They have a good team dynamic. Again, it's a little rough starting off, and it kind of goes all over the place, which you would expect from a show primarily about time travel. And time travel is awesome. And I think
they even got Rory from Doctor Who to be in.
Rory from Doctor Who.
He's now been typecast as the guy who travels through time.
Yeah, not a Time Lord, a Time Master. And I think that the show's kind of trying to...
Second Time Lord. The Doctor is a Time Lord. One of his arch enemies is the Master. Time Master.
Oh my gosh! Doctor Who is actually in Legends of Tomorrow. Season 2.
Master is actually posing
as Rory. From that one... Okay, anyways.
Sorry, I got off on that.
Conspiracy theories.
Every universe can be linked.
Exactly. Even our universe.
Yeah.
To our own
Stan Lee
universe.
exists in our universe. He's been in all the Marvel movies, along with all his, 50 twins.
That's true.
Either that guy has, a ton of twins, or he just, gets so many jobs. He gets laid off so much.
Mailman... Strip club announcer.
Security guard, librarian.
Yeah.
Man, what can that guy in the Marvel universe?
Guy who drinks a juice and then dies. Okay, but anyways, Legends of Tomorrow. The team. I like the team they put together. They have Captain Cold, Heatwave. They have Hawk Girl, Hawk Man. Almost called him Hawk Guy. They have Adam and Firestorm. Both parts of Firestorm. And then, of course, they have White Canary, who is Sarah Lance. And I think the whole team really kind of had a tough time starting off, but I think they've more or less kind of really gelled together, which is sad because they're probably not going to all return for the next season. And that's kind of going to be a theme for this series, is like a rotating main cast. So it's going to be interesting to see who comes up next. But we've seen a lot of cool cameos from other characters from the DC universe, including... My favorite cameo from a character was Jonah Hex, going back to the Old West days, and seeing that guy in a show where he's actually being like Jonah Hex, not at all like that one movie that came out a few years ago.
That was an awful movie. I
super hate that movie.
I've seen a lot worse, but I did not enjoy it. Does, one cameo that I've been wanting, even before Legend of Tomorrow, since Flash, and I saw that they actually were doing the time travel element in the show. It's Batman from Batman Beyond cameo.
Oh, that would be so cool.
I would love... Do you know how much I would love a Batman Beyond live-action TV show on the CW?
That would be awesome.
Because it would be something new and different. It wouldn't just be Batman. It would be... You could have a grumpy old Bruce Wayne and the Spider-Man like Terry McGinnis.
Yeah.
And,
that would be very cool. Well, they did have a future episode.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It had... Between Flash and Legend of Tomorrow, you could very easily set that up. Because either have Flash travel to the future in one episode, or have the team from Legend of Tomorrow travel to the future and team up with future Batman.
Dude, yeah.
And then, from that spin-off a show, because that is a show that I would watch.
Well, they're trying to, talk about casting for new characters for the next team who's going to be in Season 2.
Batman Beyond him.
Dude, yeah. Well, you know, they're saying they're going to add, I think they're maybe going to add Jonah Hex as a part of the team, which would be awesome.
I'd also like to see Static.
Static Shock.
Static Shock.
Yeah. Well, one character I really want to see come back is Constantine, obviously, and there is talk about maybe bringing him back for, you know, Season 2 of Legends of Tomorrow. And if they did that, that would be great. But for this season, it's obviously not quite done yet, but it's really picked up a lot, and there's a lot of crazy... If you're in the mood for some crazy sci-fi, wacky action with some lovable scamps, then this is the show for you.
Scamps, huh?
And the thing that I think is great about all 4 of these CW shows is that they all have their own unique kind of feel to it, but they all do work together believably, you know, in like the same
within
sphere.
their universe,
right?
Within the universe of the DC CW TV shows.
Yeah, I think I like each one of them. Even though I like some better than others, I like them all a lot. I'm super glad that DC is actually really doing this, and they're all for it, and it's really successful.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how far we come because like before Arrow premiered, Stephen Amell was told a story once about how before it premiered, they went to, don't remember if it was Comic-Con, but it was some type of convention, and some people came, and a couple people came up to him, and because nobody really knew what Arrow was because it hadn't even come on yet, and this one guy left and just like as he was leaving, told us, Stephen, I hope your show doesn't suck. And then, like, the next year, they had a panel at, I think it was Comic-Con this year, and it was, like, completely full.
Wow. That's awesome.
So it's funny to see, like, it go from, like, this thing that, like, people didn't even know what it was, and their most positive remarks were, I hope it doesn't suck, to now spinning off into 4 other TV shows that all occupy the same reality. I'll say reality, so that way, because you know.
And what's great about this is that the CW fully embraces it. You know, like they have so many superhero shows now on their network, and they're all behind it. Which makes me sad that Constantine didn't get a chance to move to CW. Because I'll just mention that real quick, because I know it's over. It's never coming back. But for that one season last year, and you didn't see it because you hate Constantine, but
I don't hate Constantine. I just heard bad things about the show.
It wasn't perfect, I'll be honest. It had some problems. But if you are a fan of John Constantine to begin with, then you're gonna probably like it because it takes a lot of its main story arcs directly from the comics. It's not completely faithful, but the guy who plays him, like I said, Matt Ryan, he is perfect for it, and I hope he comes back in some capacity.
So. I've kind of talked about the 2 that I've seen and like how I feel about them and how they're very close in my opinion, and it's very hard for me to rank them. Rank yours.
Well,
I'll let you stick to the main 4.
Yeah, I'll say I like Flash the best, and I think Arrow is definitely the most. I think it still is kind of the nucleus of this whole universe, so I definitely like it second. And I'd say, honestly, Supergirl and Legends Tomorrow are both very good, and I know it's a cop-out, but I kind of like them equally, mainly because...
I copped out.
But mainly because they haven't really gotten much of a chance. They've only had one season, so they haven't had a full chance to fully establish themselves. I'm more interested to see where Supergirl goes than Legends of Tomorrow, but I definitely want to see them both, you know, pick up the action. So I'm all on board for all 4 of them. And whatever else may come in the future with CW.
It's interesting because I've made the comment that we are living in the golden age of the comic book movie.
Yeah.
We're also kind of living in the golden age of the live-action comic book TV show.
Exactly.
I think we've passed the golden age of the animated comic book TV show.
Probably so.
But we've entered the live-action era.
Exactly, yeah.
And who knows, there might be a renaissance. We might get
Batman the Animated Series returns.
I mean, like, for me, it goes like, that was like what started that golden age, and it went up to Spectacular Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah. Maybe we'll talk about cartoon shows in the future, cartoon superhero
There are a lot of nerdy things out there.
Yeah.
So we've got a lot of material to work with.
We just need to remember them when we're coming up with ideas.
Yeah. But next week we've got it pretty easy because we've got X-Men
Apocalypse
coming up.
The one where the world ends. Oh wait, that's all of them. Just kidding. It'll probably be pretty good.
I hope it is.
My hopes are lower than yours.
Well, the thing.
I just want to see Wolverine and then I'll leave.
I just want to see Apocalypse done decently. Like I'm not even
decently.
Not even great. Just
I hope your movie doesn't suck.
Like, I've been waiting for Apocalypse for so long.
Me too.
Be
something.
I've seen a lot of mixed things, so
yeah.
I'm hoping that, but it leans towards the positive from what I've seen. Like,
right.
It's like goes from okay to really good from what I've seen. So,
okay.
From the people I've talked to or not talked to, but yeah, from the people that I kind of know have similar opinions to mine and have reviewed it. I think I'll enjoy it.
Yeah, well, we will see in a week. If X-Men
I also said the same thing about Batman vs Superman.
Yeah,
and I did not enjoy that very much.
So we're 0 for 1 right now.
No, I'd say we're 2 for 3 for
2 for 3?
superhero movies this year.
Oh, Deadpool, yeah, 2 for 3, 2 for 3.
Deadpool
guys.
and Civil War.
All right. Well, that brings us to our next segment, which is recommendations.
Crap,
I'll go first since you can't remember anything.
No, I can remember some.
Okay, well, my recommendation is I recently started rewatching Community, which is possibly my favorite comedy. It's just so rewatchable and so funny, and the reason that got me thinking about it is because of the Russo brothers, who directed Civil War and Winter Soldier. And I was watching Community back when it was actually on TV, and now
You're a hipster.
Yeah, I'm a Community hipster. And it's weird to see them, the guys who are now big-time directors of the MCU, doing these TV these episodes. They also did Arrested Development. There too.
I love Arrested Development.
Yeah, but yeah, just watching their oldest like season 1 era Community shows, it's just like you can see the similarities oddly enough, and it's I don't know. But I'm just gonna say that show, if you're looking for a good comedy, that and The Big Bang Theory ain't doing it for you. Go for Community because
I love The Big Bang Theory. It's like my life, but with a lot more sex.
yeah, you know, just like every nerd.
Actually, I should probably. Never mind. I was
going to
go a lot.
Yeah.
That joke, but.
If you go down that rabbit hole, we are not coming out. Yeah. So Community is a great comedy, and it's got 6 seasons. Let's get that movie. All right. So you?
Okay. First of all, I have to say how I'm approaching this recommendation section.
Okay.
I want to give recommendations for things that are somewhat obscure. I don't want to recommend Star Wars Episode 7, because as much as I absolutely love that movie,
yeah,
everybody's seen that movie.
Yes, everyone has seen that movie.
If they haven't, my recommendation isn't going to make them.
Yeah.
So I've been thinking of some obscure things. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why, but I've been thinking about video games.
Because you're a resident video game expert.
And I've been thinking about RPGs. So I am going to recommend a super random Japanese RPG for the PlayStation 1 called Lunar 2 Eternal Blue Complete. It is...
What even?
Well, it's a remake of a game from on a previous system.
Oh, it's a remake.
The complete... Lunar is the series name. 2 is the number of the game. Eternal Blue was the original title, I think. Yeah, Eternal Blue was the original title, and Complete was added for the remake because it was the Complete edition.
It's a heck of a name there.
Yeah, the first.
Why are you recommending this?
Because I love that game. I think it is.
Are you all about the RPGs?
I like RPGs. I like both JRPGs and Western RPGs. The Lunar series was one of the first JRPG series that I ever played. It wasn't that game in particular. I think that Lunar 2 on the PlayStation 1 is the best Lunar game, but the Lunar series as a whole kind of like got me interested. It's really old school. Like it doesn't do a whole lot of like now a lot of JRPGs do a bunch of like Final Fantasy do a bunch of random things to try to shake up the combat, but this doesn't really do it. It just does it well, and it also. I felt like the difficulty was fair, like, you know, like it's like...
It's not
like... at times I struggled through it, but I never felt like it was unfair. So it was like a good challenge without ever feeling like it was too much. And I don't know. I just love that series. Do not play Lunar Dragon Song on the DS.
Don't do it.
That game sucked.
It'll kill you.
It almost did. I played through the whole thing. It was horrible. But the first 2 Lunar games on the PlayStation are good. I recommend those.
I'd just like to take this moment to plug another channel. Your channel.
The channel that may not even exist anymore much longer.
just get interested into it. It's called Gaming's Unnecessary Love Triangle.
I do it with, it's a Let's Play channel that I do with 2 of my roommates.
And also people I know.
Yeah. Yeah, and we've had guests on there, and I want to have you on there, but
I haven't been on there. But to be fair, I'm not a huge video game guy, so I wouldn't.
And
really have
also,
a lot to bring to it.
you live so far away. You live like 45 minutes.
During the school year, we live like 2 hours away.
And most of the time, whenever we film, it's not like a planned thing. It's just like, hey, we all have time now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And usually, when we have guests, it's just because somebody had a friend over, like at the dorm, like at the time we decided.
No world famous game reviewers like Carson here. So
no world famous. So yeah, I guess will you put a link to it in the description?
In fact, my channel is subscribed to it. If you go to the channel, if you go to our channel and you look down to the side, it'll be under the recommended channels.
We try to be funny, but we're not.
So I guess that's about it. There's not much to say. So next week is X-Men Apocalypse.
I'm ready for Apocalypse. I mean, I'm ready for all humanity to die.
Yeah.
And I'm also ready for the X-Men movie.
The end of the world, yay! So, want to take us out?
Scooby-Dooby-Doo.
Where, in fact, are you?
Cleveland. Bye!